Gambia on Saturday hosted more than 100 young people from 15 African and European countries to participate in a day-long youth summit organized by the Pan-African Youth Leadership Foundation in partnership with the state of Mike. The convergence, as Sisi Sawane tells us, seeks to reinforce youth participation and leadership in Africa.
This is the first ever Africa-Europe Youth Leadership Summit organized in Banjul. Gambia is said to be the friendliest tourist destination which has availed different nationals to host such an event in the country. The event, which is a massive youth gathering, seeks to address the underlying causes of youth engagement, participation and leadership. The Liberian ambassador to Senegal, Marian Fusang, noted the importance of youth participation in nation building. She emphasized on the diplomatic relations between the Gambia and Liberia, noting that the countries have a long-standing bilateral ties.
I recall that in the early 1990s, when Liberia was engulfed in a deadly civil war, Gambia was one of the West African countries which provided military and diplomatic support in restoring peace and security to Liberia. For this, we remain forever grateful.
Fusang stressed that Africa has been perceived as a theater of social and political instability, which has often led in the past numerous of armed conflicts. She, however, noted that the Sustainable Development Goals 2030 and the AU Agenda 2063 of the Africa we want is unachievable without the inclusion of young people.
We must be aware that Africa is youthful. Harnessing this demographic dividend presents an opportunity to build the resilience of young people and address the root causes of many of the key challenges facing Africa: violent extremism, radicalization, and forced migration.
Mustafa Njai of Tough Africa Global, who also served as the guest speaker of the event, shared his vision for youth participation through his Tough Africa Foundation.
I have a foundation called the Tough Africa Foundation, and we have 7 different initiatives, Tough Africa Leadership. So what we do, we try to mentor young people, into making them good leaders. Where in the last 3 months, it was started in January. So by end of this year, we will graduate 50 of these fellows.
The executive director of the National Youth Council, Lamin Dabo, gave an overview of young people's participation in the development process. He cited the AU Charter and the Banjul Plus 10, which the Gambia hosted a few years ago.
Gambia is equally the capital city of youth development in Africa. Of course, we will always reference the African Youth Charter, and it was born in this country in 2006. It was not only because the African Youth Charter was born here, but we have the African Commission on Human and People's Rights right here. And in 2016, we also hosted the Banjul Plus 10, which was the 10th year anniversary.
The Pan-African Youth Leadership Foundation is an all-inclusive leading African youth platform representing and safeguarding aspirations of youth across the continent, and it's committed to championing youth policies of the AU and governments of all member states by complementing an all-inclusive national youth integration and development policies. For GRTS News, I am Sisi Sawane.